Hello and welcome to the Alcohol Free Vibes podcast, a high vibe space where we talk about all things spirituality, manifestation, raising our vibrations, and walking away from the manifestation block that is alcohol. Whether you're newly sober, sober curious, or you've been sober for a long time, this is the place for you if you want to learn more about spirituality, manifestation, and how letting go of alcohol can make you so much more powerful at manifesting. It's time to stop drinking, start living, raise our vibrations, and step into our manifestation power. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Alcohol Free Vibes podcast. How are you? I hope you've had a lovely week. I'm really excited this week to welcome my guest, Eva Lai, who has come on the podcast twice before. She is very spiritual, very wise, and very, very interesting to talk to. And we're going to be talking about manifesting love in this week's episode. So as far as I can kind of gather from all of the people that I've coached, all of the people that I've talked to about manifestation, and from myself as well, like there's two main things that most people want to manifest or are at the core of their manifestation list, and that is love and money. Those are the top things that people want to manifest. And I thought we'd have an episode today just fully talking about manifesting love, and not just manifesting like any old boyfriend or girlfriend, that may or may not be making us feel good, but manifesting a really, really wholesome relationship where we have our needs met and we feel worthy and good. So Eva is going to talk about her experience, her own journey with this, which is so interesting and helpful. So we'll be welcoming her in a moment. Before we do get going with that interview, just a reminder of the offerings that I have on at the moment. So if you would like to have a monthly check-in with your manifestation learning and journey and a little bit of community there, why not join my Sober and Soulful membership? It's only £30 a month. There's a monthly theme with a self-led video training. We have a monthly call with a really lovely community. You also get meditation audio in line with the monthly theme and journal prompts as well. On another note, we have Sober and Soulful. The next round of this starts at the beginning of September. So if you are either at the beginning of your alcohol-free journey, or if you stop drinking, but you know that there's still a little bit of FOMO there, there's still a little bit of a pang for, I remember when I used to be able to drink and I can't now. If you've got those kinds of feelings, or if you also want to learn about why alcohol is a manifestation block in more detail, so you can understand how you can step into your manifestation power in sobriety, this course is for you. It's a 6-week immersive course. I can guarantee by the end of this course, you will no longer have any FOMO left around drinking alcohol. If you don't believe me, then check out some of the podcast episodes where I interview alumni members of the course, and they will vouch for this. You really won't have any feelings of FOMO left. This course has I've just changed its structure. So I brought the course down to 1 call a week instead of 2, and I've adjusted the pricing to reflect the current cost of living crisis in the UK. So the price for the course is now $333 for that 6-week immersive course. It includes meditation audios, workbooks, and of course the weekly calls. And if you would like to get your place booked on that now, there are limited spaces. They have already started booking up, and if you start now, you can pay that in 3 monthly payments of 111 between now and September to make that a little bit more manageable for you. So just pop me an email to thrive@coachingbyannika.co.uk if this is something you'd like to do. Equally, if you are really knee deep into your manifestation and spiritual journey, and you don't want to spend time on a course going over the basics of what manifestation is and why alcohol is a manifestation block, if you already feel like you're there, but you want to take it to the next level, you want to take it deeper, then I do have a spot left on my advanced manifestation course. It's £250 for the 5-week course. There's a spot left on my cohort that starts on the 28th of July. But if I get more inquiries, then I'll begin another cohort I keep the groups for this super small, so there's only 4 people per group, so we can do a really, really deep dive. And as soon as I've got 4 people, I will start another group. So get in contact again, thrive@coachingbyanneke.co.uk if you would like to apply for the advanced manifestation course. You do need to have a foundational understanding of manifestation. If you would like one-to-one coaching with me, then jump on a free discovery call. Link is in the show notes, or send me an email. You might also want to, if you're at the beginning of your journey, sign up for my 30-day audio challenge. It's only £20, and I email you every day with an audio which gives you pep talks. Sometimes you have a meditation. Sometimes there's little things for you to do that day. All you have to do is click play and listen to the sound of my voice. And I often don't mention this on here, but I do offer Reiki. I offer Reiki in person in Shrewsbury at the Wellness Atelier. If you just send me an email, we can get you booked in. I also do remote Reiki as well, as Reiki works across time and space. If you'd like to know more about that, then do pop me an email. Okay, I think that is all of the offerings I need to talk to you about today. And let's now get started with this week's super interesting episode, all about manifesting love, manifesting self-love, and stepping into our authenticity in new relationships. Let's get started. Hello, Eva. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, my love, for having me again.
Oh, my pleasure. It's so nice to see you in this sunny background, sunny London.
So I thought I'll do it outdoor, be connected to nature, and be in sunbathing at the same time.
Your natural habitat, your sunbathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out in the elements. I love it. Okay, so I know that you've been on the podcast 2 times now. This is your 3rd time. But for those of you that have not met you before, would you like to give yourself an introduction?
So I am Eva Lai. I am based in London currently, and I'm a conscious artist. So I create lots of different things, and I coach people in tapping into their creative power. And I'm also an author of the Art Healing Playbook of Self-Love. So that's something I'm really passionate about, sharing healing through self-love and creativity.
Amazing. Just a generally very wise person who I love talking to you about spirituality, manifesting, healing, all of that. And I know
Thank you.
Yeah, you really are so inspiring to talk to. One of the things that I would say if someone asked me to describe you and what you're about is you were just founded your foundation rooted, that's what I meant to say, in self-love and building that strong internal foundation, that roots of self-love, and that you conduct your life from that foundational basis. And you've been on a big journey with that, haven't you? Which of course has led you to finding aligned romantic love now. So this is what I would like to kind of talk about today for our guests. Anyone who's listening, who is manifesting love, who really wants to manifest an aligned divine relationship, listen in, because Eva you didn't try and do a quick fix, did you? You went the long route, but you went the deep healing, let's play the long game route, and you're now reaping the benefits. So yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, darling.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah, no, I definitely did not take the easy way. I took the simple way, but simple usually is the harder way.
Yeah.
So I was celibate and doing intentional alignment. I call it intentional alignment, basically just kind of refocusing, shifting all the energy and the love back to myself for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So I was very, very, very single. But I truly, truly believe that you have to have a basic level of self-love and self-awareness before you can have healthy relationships with people, like we have all had this kind of what we think is normal relationship, but not necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
Because our upbringing for our parents aren't always um, as intentional and as healthy as we'd hope them to be, even though our parents did their best, you know.
Yeah. I love that. And really what you're referring to there is we've all got kind of blueprint wiring in our brains, which
Yeah.
comes from our childhood, comes from growing up. And of course, the first relationship we ever witness is the relationship between our parents and the relationship that we have with them. And it becomes our foundational wiring that we are reconfirming and reacting against and with through the rest of our lives. And actually, when we want to come to do that deep self-healing in terms of the way that we love ourselves and the way that we show up for loving relationships and other people, we have to begin by looking at that blueprint and starting to question it. Because just because something feels familiar and it feels normal to us doesn't necessarily make it healthy, doesn't necessarily mean it serves us, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying it so clearly. I think sometimes I forget that like some of the audiences might not be familiar with like attachment styles. But I know your audiences are all very like into the whole self-help world. So bear with me when I sometimes skip a couple of the explanations.
No
But
worries.
thank you for that. Yeah, you explained it so beautifully. I think that's what I meant by it's very important to understand those things before we can navigate with like interpersonal relationships.
And actually, let's just come back to, you mentioned attachment theory there, which
Mm.
I find really, really helpful. And I also had a reframe on it recently, which I found even more helpful. I wonder what your views are on this, because those of you that haven't heard of attachment theory, there are three main attachment styles. We've got anxious attachment, avoidant, and then secure attachment. We've got another one, which is disorganized, which is like a mixture of everything. And these are kind of, the seeds for these are planted in our childhood. So we might be anxiously attached if we grew up not knowing if our parents were coming back. We might be avoidant if we were neglected. These are all very sweeping statements, of course. Some of these things are much more subtle when they're actually happening. But I had a reframe about this recently, which really resonated with me, which was, we're all of them, and different people trigger them. So it doesn't mean that we're broken, or that, oh God, I'm anxious attachment, what am I going to do? It's really frustrating. It's just, it's, what are you moving towards? Because if the feeling of being anxiously attached is familiar and it feels safe and normal, you're going to keep moving towards it. It doesn't mean that you're not securely attached in other areas of your life. So for example, many people, not everyone, many people are securely attached, like with friendships. But they might be anxiously attached in some romantic relationships. But sometimes the story of, oh, I'm just an anxiously attached person isn't helpful. It's like, no, you stop choosing the people that make you feel anxiously attached, start choosing the people that don't, because there are people that don't make you feel like that. You're just not interested in them, right?
Yeah. I mean, you hit a very, very important point. I think I've gone through times where I was so attached to the labels because I have labeled myself as an anxious attachment working towards as being secure. And I really believe and agreed with what you said, that everyone has some sort of element in them. You would have more of certain things, and it's a spectrum, right? No one truly is ever 100% secure at all times. Like, I have never really witnessed a person that enlightened. Even a Dalai Lama probably made certain mistakes, right? But I think where it's important to have that basic framework, like it was really helpful for me. Is like, I guess if you were, like, for example, an alcoholic, being labeled as an alcoholic gives you some sort of relief to know that it's an illness, for example, and therefore you can start healing them. But once you get to a certain point, you might it's easy to let this kind of labels hold back your growth. And I think that's the time when you understand everyone is the spectrum of certain things, and use them in an empowering way rather than like a label that's just what you identify you as. But yeah, I think it's helpful, but you need to learn how to navigate it in your each individual relationship at individual specific moments, because it's a constant evolution.
And I think when you're saying the word navigate and evolution there, for me, it's about moving forward. As long as
Mm,
we're moving forward, as long as we've got momentum, then keep going. It's working for you. It's when these labels create stuckness. That's not even a word,
exactly.
but they make us
Exactly.
feel stuck, and we hit a plateau and they're holding us back. They're no longer serving us.
Yeah.
Just wondering then, so in your 4 years of celibacy,
Mm,
um, were there kind of like phases or chapters to your healing? Like what took
mm.
you to the point where you met Tom?
Okay, so I have always been in long-term relationships that were slightly toxic. I don't like to use the word toxic because I now looking back, am grateful for every single relationships I've ever had. Even in the midst of pain and toxic behaviors, there was a deep lesson. And um, I got to a point in the beginning of my healing journey, knowing that I could possibly be a love addict. Because I was reading this book called Facing Love Addiction by Pia Melody. And I think this addictive behavior isn't just substance. It's like, the alcohol. I keep using that because I know that was your primary your primary subject that you were dealing with. So if everyone drinks, we don't call them alcoholics because it's deemed normal, right? Everyone falls in love and looks for love in the wrong places and have all these unhealthy behavior when it comes to romantic love. But what we see all the time in rom-com and movies, we think it's normal. Therefore, we don't really identify ourselves as love addicts. But in reality, if you look at it, how many people can totally be happily single, right? Like, can you? And I remember the turning point for me was when I sat there and I was like, do you know what? If I am just single for the rest of my life, if I never find my person, I would like to have him, but I'm also very happy and okay, like truly okay without this person, because I really started to feel like whole again. And it's a difficult point to get to,
Yeah.
but um I think that was important. And I was still dating like a little bit, uh and then before Tom then enter my world. And it was after my 34th birthday, and I thought, like, I'm ready. It was a deep knowing that I was like, I am ready. I'm independent now. Now I'm ready to be interdependent
And
and not codependent versus what I used to be like.
I love that. For me, what you just said really resonated when you talked about it's a hard place to get to, but to be genuinely accepting and happy with, if I don't meet anyone ever, like that's okay. I don't
Yeah,
need anybody.
it's a
I'm
big statement.
big statement. I do actually remember genuinely feeling like that once. And that was just before I met my ex-husband. It is a magical place to get to.
Yeah.
I remember saying that to somebody, like I really don't need anyone. I don't care. Um and it's a wonderful feeling of wholeness, isn't it, when you get to that spot? And it
Mm.
comes from such self-love, such self-security, like feeling like a Swiss Army knife, like I've got all the resources I need right
Mm.
here. And really what we're describing there is our most magnetic self, our most authentic self. And
Yeah.
that's really where we manifest everything from when we're in that whole
Yeah.
state, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it. I think I'm a Scorpio, so I dive into things pretty deep and extreme. So I don't think 4 years alone it's for everybody, because I pretty much lived like a monk. And um now looking back, I genuinely think you can learn and grow with somebody else. I stand by the statement of you can only give what you have. So you can only love people the way you love yourself, you know, because you called in what you are. They are a mirror, a reflection of your vibration, right? But I also can see that, like, for example, now uh, Tom has taken me places and taught me things, and we can navigate these challenges together in a way that I couldn't possibly do that alone. So this whole concept then is a bit of a contradiction of saying I don't need anybody, I can be alone. Yes, but if we are human beings, we are meant to be in community. The whole longing, that innate longing for somebody, is because deep down we do just want to be loved, and they can heal you to a whole. Sorry, not I want to change that statement. They don't heal you. They can help you heal in a level beyond what you can even comprehend and imagine.
I love this. Okay, so what I'm hearing when you're saying this, Eva, is
Mm,
think about this, the human experience. We're
mm,
souls, spiritual beings. We've come into this human experience to grow and up level and expand our souls. And really, if we're going to simplify that, we life is a process of forgetting and remembering, isn't it? We forget
yes.
who we are, and then it's about remembering who we are. And I kind of had this realization recently that, when we're working on ourselves on our own, we are coming back to who we are, we're remembering who we are, we're remembering our wholeness. But then every single relationship that drops in is just another mirror to help us remember who we are. And every
Mm,
relationship gives you another layer of, that's who I am. And actually, so much of that for me has been,
mm,
what is it that I found really attractive about this person?
mm,
All of those things are then reflecting back things about myself that I either love and have neglected and thrown in my shadow that I need to like reintegrate, or
yeah.
things about myself that I just want to like pour more energy into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I like that. I am that kind of person. And everyone kind of is like helping you like pull yourself up more back towards your wholeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's when I first started going into the dating world again, I called it intentional dating, and even going on Hinge, like dating apps, it was intentional hinging. I'm coining that because, like, when I understand in this day and age, like, it's hard to meet people just on the street. Like, people don't don't meet uh people the old school way anymore, and you never know who is available, who isn't. And when you hit after 30s, I think a lot of people are like in couples, a lot of your friends, so it's difficult. But when you are not going in blind, when you it's like manifesting, right? You hold that list, you hold knowing what you want and what you don't want, and start putting this filter on. So it's like catching, like, I always use this analogy, like, if you're a magnet, you're sucking in what you want, right? You could call everything in. So you could call in 100 people on the dating app, but then you have to then filter through all of these. So it's like you're just wasting your time. It consumes your time and energy, right? Um, to kind of go and check, oh, is this my person? Is this my person? But when you go in knowing exactly my for example, my profile was very much like, this is who I am, no makeup, no filters, no bullshit. Like, you either like it or you really don't resonate with me, and that's totally okay. So some days I would maybe have one, or some days I have none, and that would take a hit on your ego, you know. You might then start questioning, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I not getting hundreds of people wanting to date me? But then that's because you've set a very clear intention and wish list to what you desire. And then that filter blocks out all the things that are not you. And then that way you can just call in those things that are a match of your energy. And then when you do each day, I have a word. So I'll go in with it, say, okay, today the intention is what can I learn about myself? So the whole day would be about what can I learn about myself. So then you can't have a bad day because it was all you turned it into a learning and growth experience and opportunity.
I love that. I love approaching everything like that. Like, what is this showing?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is
what is it showing me?
it's all happening for us, not to us. So I'm guessing then that you met Tom on Hinge, right?
I did. I actually I'm still working through this. There is a little ick when it comes to dating app because I was so resistant about it. And then you feel like you don't have that romantic story, right? So need not even sharing on here. I always said to him, can we just tell people we met at the train station, which was like where we met on our first date? But can we just change the story a bit? But then I guess it's owning that story, and now I'm trying to embrace it as a way of like we can meet in the ways that people don't necessarily think it's uh romantic or healthy or good, because there's loads of connotation when it comes to, I think, online dating, but also realizing that we can do it in a beautiful way.
And actually, none of this matters. It's the energy behind what
Mm.
the transaction, God, that sounds wrong,
Mm.
but it's the energy behind it that matters, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
it's how you do it, not what you
yeah,
do.
and it's how they make you feel. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something that I find difficult about Hinge, is that I'm such an energy person. I don't really like have a look that I go for. I just know in an energy if someone's someone that I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
I can't tell that on Hinge, so I might as well just not have a picture and not know anything about them.
Yeah.
Just
But I
random,
think you
right?
can also read I think if you can read energy, you can read it beyond the appearance and the screen. And this is really funny because uh I was always such a logical data leading up to that. I would like psychoanalyze everyone and like
Yeah.
going, what's your trauma? What's your wound? What's your relationship with your mother? And I even had like, one date that I was like, should I like pay you for therapy? It felt like I just had therapy. And and the truth is that was me guarded. It was me being protective of my heart because I was so afraid of getting hurt. I think a lot of people who kind of move from that codependency into being an independent, when you first find self love, you're so afraid that you will go back to the old version of yourself. And that's like my vulnerable truth.
Oh, I'm so pleased you've just brought the word basically fear up, because that's exactly what I was going to ask you about next. Because there is a bravery that we need to hold in our hearts when we move into finding aligned love.
Mm.
There's a bravery in being single and not settling and waiting for something that is right to come through. And there's a bravery into entering into it. Um, how much do you think in the past fear has held you back then from manifesting love?
So I think that was when I was saying about this dating period, when I lean into the theory, which were helpful to help me navigate to not go back to my old patterns and my old ways. But people can't form connections and fall in love. Sorry, I also don't like the word fall in love because it feels very like out of control. I consciously walked in love. It doesn't sound very romantic, but it really is. I I think in the past, even being in relationships that were like years, like 3 to 7 years, there was still a guard up. There is, because I didn't trust that I can hold myself. So if you're hurt by the other person, what am I gonna do? I'll fall apart, like I'll break. And we almost have that old identity. Like I said, I was like love addict. When you take away the love drug, you're fucked. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you turn towards other addiction. But when you're whole, you have this deep radical self-trust that no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay. Because everything is a learning experience, everything is happen as it should, the way it should be. So the way with Tom, I think we were very committed very early on. And I went into it fully, and we both did, open hearted. Um, there's always fear. Fear comes up every day until today. It still does. Part of the old avoidant or anxious traits pops up because we are fearing that we might get hurt. Fear of what if the other person changes their mind? What if the other person, um, hurt you? Which pain is inevitable, by the way. Like, I think with love, it comes with pain. You trust each other to hold your heart as gently and as caringly, lovingly as possible. But we human, like, we make mistakes, and we will not accidentally, we will hurt each other, even with the best intention. So I think the only person you could truly trust to hold you is you. So if you could do that, what have you got to be afraid of?
I love that. I think that's actually very Buddhist, isn't it? Like accepting that suffering is a part of the human experience, and resisting that suffering creates more suffering. Just accepting that suffering, we grow through suffering, right? And it sounds really depressing, but if you think about why did our soul come here? We came here to grow and expand. We came here to suffer. It doesn't mean we came here to only suffer, because we live in a world of contrast.
Polarity. Yeah.
Polarity. So the suffering is balanced out with joy and euphoria, but we have to have the polarity, and we have to celebrate all of it. But as far as I can see, every piece of suffering we get is actually just a leg up. It's an up level, bringing us towards more joy. And that's the thing we have to keep focused on when we've had a big slap in the face from the universe, right?
It's just accepting that fear is a part of love. Because if you love something enough, there will be a fear of losing it. Once you have something, that's when you can lose it, right? And I'm not talking about ownership of somebody. That's something I also don't really believe in. I think you feel. I'm trying to put it well.
Like having the feeling, like the dynamic, that's what you're like, you don't want to lose, rather than having the person as a possession, you mean?
It's a fear of abandonment, fear of not having that love anymore. But what if you are that love? The other person is merely a channel, a reflection for you to connect to that love. And I think it's important to see the other person as their own person, and they are offering you beautiful experiences. You could do life together, you get to experience all these joy and fun and ups and downs and growth together alongside each other. But the love itself that you created, even if they go, even if they leave, that doesn't take it away. So all you have is gain. You can't lose. And if you could reframe your mind into that mentality, then you can fully allow yourself to love wholeheartedly. And we always say it's not 99%. When you love, if you can love 100% with nothing holding back, then the relationship becomes easy, because you're committed, and that comes freedom.
And really that's coming back to that word of loving bravely, I'd say. Like, I know that I've got fear. I know that
we all do.
I'm gonna have pain, and that's okay. And I'm brave, and I'm going to just jump into it and know that I will be caught by the universe, right? And I know, am I right in thinking that Tom is also sober?
Yes. So this is a funny story. He actually stopped drinking the week before he met me.
Did he?
Yeah. And it was, and I think this is the thing that never said I wouldn't date someone who drinks. It wasn't because of that, but I knew I wouldn't be with somebody who drinks, and it's got nothing to do with the drink in itself.
Yeah.
But I need someone who is totally present. I need that full presence and consciousness and just be fully available to feel. And he stopped, and he hasn't wanted to since. And I never told him not to. I always say, if you want to, you go ahead. I know it's judgment between couples, who one drinks, who doesn't, sometimes creates conflict and judgment. But I always say, you're your own person. You make your own decision. And as and when he decided to have a beer, I would have absolutely no problem with that. But I think initially that tells me a lot about the person he's choosing to become.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that this is an example of divine timing, right? Because you manifested each other at exactly the right point in your journeys for you to come into alignment. And imagine if you'd met him or come across him like a year ago or
Even a week ago, it wouldn't have been right.
Have felt right, and it dropped in just at the right moment for both of you. And if you could go back to the version of you who was healing, who was on her own, or even the version of you who was crying because one of her toxic relationships had ended, what would you tell her now, knowing what you know now?
I'd be like, everything. It's so cliche, but like everything is happening exactly as the way it should. You just not even be patient. You just need to roll with it. Just keep rolling and keep going, because I honestly, truly believe that every single relationship I've ever had been preparing me for this relationship. And I'm not saying this is like, oh, this is the ultimate divine, my final relationship. I can't predict the future, right? No one ever knows what's going to happen next. But it's so beautiful that for what it's been, that I think I could totally see all the little learnings through my past prepares me for this. Like the one just before Tom, it was actually a open relationship, which I would I never thought that's something that I would even consider. But it was so beautiful, so conscious. It didn't work out the way that, what we call happy ending, but it is happy ending in its own way, because we each navigated it so consciously with total respect and love for each other. And a deep shadow of mine is jealousy, and that healed so much. I mean, if you can share a man with somebody, you can share anything, right? That's the ultimate sharing. And I'm an only child. I have like major only child syndrome, where I'm like, don't want to share food. But I think it's not something I do now, because I believe in total devotion to one person. That's my design. It's not for everybody, but right now this is for me. I'm totally devoted to one partner. But that experience was crucial, because now I can move through my jealousy way easier than I used to be able to.
That's so interesting. Oh, Eva, I could literally talk to you about this all day.
So I feel like our story is a little bit frantic.
No, it's not at all. I'm sure everyone listening can resonate with lots of different things that you've picked up on there. And I think there are some sort of real core truths there to that everyone can take away from. It's about loving yourself. It's about knowing that you fill up your own cup. You're charging yourself with love from the universe. And actually, when we're in relationship, we're channeling for each other. And it's that fearlessness, the bravery to know that, like, when we love wholeheartedly, that just to kind of surrender really to that, knowing that we will always be okay, even when it's not okay, where it's okay.
Absolutely. And I think it's having that not just patience, but be ready. So to the people who are trying to manifest their loved ones, what I did was to make space for it. You know, when we wish for stuff, sometimes you wish and wish, and then when it's finally here, you're like, ah, shit, like I'm not ready. You know, like if someone suddenly give you 50 million that you wish for, you're like, oh my god, I don't know what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
You panic. So my practice was like, live my life as if I have got space for a partner. So I would started doing this like my teacher taught me this to uh like my bedroom feng shui, like worked on having the things instead of having three pillows. I don't know why I had odd numbers pillows, but I have everything in a pair. And then in my bathroom, and I hung up two dressing gowns, and this method has proven that like it actually works.
Yeah.
Hannah, sober Hannah, she did that
Yeah.
and it worked.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so it's to start carving out space to welcome in the other person. So be so prepared for them that when they land, finally, they know there's a place for them. They know they belong, rather than then frantically like you have no space for their clothes. You have, if you're still living at home with, your family or something, even if you have a date, where are they gonna go? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Right? So are you I know we're all about manifesting the 5D. Is your 3D ready?
Yeah.
Right? So those little practices and was helpful. Like even do you have time? Like are you living in a job where like sorry, are you doing a job where you have no time to date in your life? So then when this amazing perfect man finally came into your life, and he asks you on a date, you'll be like, sorry, I've got a shift or I've got a meeting. You got no time. So if you then start carving out time where you have like I used to date myself, I have like even nights and I'll have like my non-alcoholic drinks like in a nice glass and make my food and candles and have sexy baths, like
Love it.
all
Yeah.
these little things, even like self pleasure, like tuning into your body, understanding what makes you tick. And when you could tune into that frequency, like what more do you need? The universe said, all right, boom, you're ready. I'm gonna drop him into your lap. And when Tom landed, he told me when he first walked into my space, like in my home, and he saw that he just put on the dressing gown. It was really freaky. Like he just put on a dressing gown, and he just knew. He was like, "This feels like home. It feels like it's been waiting for me." And I was like, "It has."
Oh,
So
wow. That's giving me goosebumps. That's magical.
it is really like I know we love a bit of magic, but it's also practical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's something you can actually do in your life. It's not just woo shit. It's like get your shit ready, like action and get your life so you can hold that laugh so you have the capacity to laugh well.
Yeah. I love this. Oh, Eva, so inspiring. Thank you so much for vulnerably sharing so much of your story with everybody.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Everyone listening, I'm sure they would love to buy your art playbook, find out more about your exhibitions and things going on. Tell us what you've got coming up that people can connect with you on.
So you can, if you want to do more on your self journey, like self-love healing, you could order my book called The Art Healing Playbook of Self-Love. It's available in paperback where you can draw and interact and create, as well as the ebook version. And I am doing an exhibition in September in London called Unfuckwithable, and
Okay.
it's all to do with again just little nuggets of wisdom presenting in a beautiful way, and it's quite fun and we connect to your inner child. And then I haven't really mentioned this much, but working on my next book, which is called Love Well, and it's all to do with my journey on learning how to love well, which I'm still learning every day.
Amazing. So when that's out, you'll have to come back on the podcast and tell us more about it. Because
Yeah.
that's really cool. Really cool.
Oh,
Oh, it's
Thank you.
lovely to connect with you. Oh, what's your Instagram handle? I'll put it in the show notes, but just to let everyone listening know how to find you on
Yes,
Instagram.
it's Zen's.space, and you could find all my little updates of my life, ups and downs on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eva. It's so good to connect with you. Have a lovely day.
Thanks for having me, darling.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to me today. If you would like to have the chance of winning a free one-to-one coaching session with me, then I'd love it if you could leave me a 5-star review. All you need to do is take a screenshot of the review and send it to me at thrive@coachingbyannika.co.uk, and I would love to connect with you. If you would like to connect with me further and you'd like to download my free guide, then please go to my website and you can do that and you'll be added to my mail list. Or if you would just like to book in a free discovery call with me, then you can do so via my email address or through my website. All of these links will be in the show notes. And I hope you have a wonderful, magical, sober week, and I will see you this time next week.